welcome you, dear viewers, through Noursat TV in Tel Lumiere. We begin our bulletin with the main headlines. Pope Leon calls for a ceasefire and a resolution to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Jordan announces the reactivation of mandatory national service, preparing youth to serve and defend the homeland. Cardinal Pizzabella presides over the celebration of the Feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Jerusalem. Jordanian Christian tribes rejects Netanyahu's statements that undermines the sovereignty of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. From the headlines to the details. His Holiness Pope Leon XIV stressed the necessity of a ceasefire, resolving the hunger crisis in Gaza, and releasing the hostages, referring to the goals of the soft diplomacy adopted by the Holy See in dealing with issues that cannot be solved by war. His Holiness added, "We must always turn towards dialogue and diplomatic efforts, not violence and weapons, as we cannot continue in this way. We recognize the violence of terrorism and honor those who lost their lives, and we must remember that many are dying of hunger." When asked at a press conference what the Holy See could do to stop these conflicts, the pontiff said, "The Holy See cannot stop them, but we are working on soft diplomacy and always encouraging the search for solutions, because these problems cannot be solved by war, but through dialogue." His Royal Highness Crown Prince Al-Hussein bin Abdullah II announced the reactivation of the National Service Program in the Kingdom. His Highness said that the youth must be prepared to be ready to serve and defend the homeland, stressing the importance of the program in strengthening national identity and the connection of youth to their land. Crown Prince Al-Hussein pointed out that the service alongside the Jordanian Armed Forces, the Arab Army, contributes to shaping character and discipline, and that he instructed the government to work with its partners to develop this program, which will undergo a series of measures according to a set timeline. Government spokesperson Dr. Mohammed Al-Momini and Brigadier General Mustafa Al-Bihyari, Director of Military Media in the Jordanian Armed Forces, announced the details of the National Service Program in its new form. Jordan condemned Israel's ongoing assaults on Jerusalem's Christians and the restrictions imposed on them, the latest of which is the decision to freeze the bank accounts of the Orthodox Patriarchate in Jerusalem. Jordan considered this a violation of the existing historical and legal status of the Islamic and Christian holy sites in the Holy City. The kingdom affirmed its absolute rejection of Israel's illegal measure in light of its continued assaults on Palestinian cities and their holy sites in Jerusalem. For his part, Archbishop Atallah Hanna, Archbishop of Sebastia, considered the freezing of the bank accounts of the Greek Orthodox Church in Jerusalem to be a very serious matter, falling within a scheme aimed at pressuring churches and Christian institutions. He explained that this measure came as a reaction from Israel and its dismay at the recent visit of Cardinal Pizzabella and Patriarch Theophilus III to Gaza, where they launched an appeal calling for an end to the war of extermination. In a related context, His Beatitude Patriarch Theophilus III, Patriarch of Jerusalem and all Palestine and Jordan, stressed the importance of Jordanian support that condemns the ongoing assaults of the occupation and the restrictions on Jerusalem's Christians, the latest of which was a decision to freeze the bank accounts of patriarchs in Jerusalem. He added in a statement, "We renew our pride in the positions of His Majesty King Abdullah II and his constant rejection of any assault on the Christians of the Holy Land, affirming that the support reflects the genuine courage and wisdom that have always been distinguished by the Jordanian leadership." With regards to the decision to freeze the bank accounts, His Beatitude clarified that coordination and consultation took place with other churches in order to formulate a unified position and deliver the message to the worldwide to stop these unjust practices. On the occasion of the Feast of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary according to the Western calendar, His Beatitude Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzabella, Patriarch of Jerusalem for the Latins, presided over a Holy Mass at the Benedictine Monastery in Abu Ghosh in Jerusalem. After the reading of the Holy Gospel, His Beatitude spoke, reflecting on the readings and the Gospel. He said, "Today we celebrate an important event, the Feast of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary, body and soul, into heaven." He added, "The pain of these days does not allow us to deliver speeches about peace and repeated condemnation of the war in Gaza. What is required is that we, as believers, stand in the heart of this tragedy that will not end soon. We all want this war to end as quickly as possible and for its painful effects that touch the lives of our communities to disappear, and we must do everything we can to achieve that." He concluded by saying, "The Assumption of our Mother Mary, which we celebrate today, and her complete participation, body and soul, in the victory of Christ, is a pledge of our destiny as children of God." He called upon Blessed Mary to intercede for us, so that the seeds of life that awaits us may be born within us and remain in us always. His Excellency Bishop Iyad Atwal, Patriarchal Vicar for the Latins in Jordan, sponsored the opening ceremony of the Spirit of the World Academy for Leadership and Development in Fhis, in the presence of priests from various churches, Mother Sophie Hattar, Superior General of the Rosary Sisters, nuns, and a number of official and public figures, as well as representatives from various ecclesiastical and educational institutions. In his speech, the Academy's founder, Reverend Dr. Ibrahim Nafa, affirmed that the goal of establishing it is to integrate the spiritual and educational dimensions in order to shape administrative and educational leadership through specialized formation courses targeting those working in the educational field, church service institutions, and pastoral ministries such as youth, scouts, altar service, and fraternities, among others. During the ceremony, several speeches were delivered emphasizing the importance of this academy in developing spiritual leadership among the sons and daughters of the church and those working in the field of education, teaching, and the labor market. These courses are run by a team of specialists and academics, including university professors, trainers, and researchers, and the Academy also grants accredited and certified certificates to participants in the course. The Christian clans in the kingdom issued a statement strongly rejecting the remarks of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu regarding what he called the vision of Greater Israel, considering these statements an explicit declaration of expansionist ambition that undermines the very essence of Jordanian state sovereignty. The clan said in their statement, this alleged vision is nothing more than part of an extremist agenda aimed at igniting the flames of conflict and fueling violence at a time where our people are looking towards just peace and human dignity. His Excellency Bishop Christophorus, Metropolitan of Jordan for the Greek Orthodox, presided over the Divine Liturgy at the Church of the Ascension in Khalda. In his Gospel homily, His Excellence spoke about the beauty of our spiritual life when it is within the Church and its canons, and how we are united with the Church when we fulfill our duty in prayer, through which hearts find rest and purification. He called on the faithful to pray for the sick, the absent, the department, and those under the yoke of wars and persecutions. His Excellency was assisted in the service by a number of priests and deacons in the presence of a large gathering of parishioners. With the blessing of Reverend Father Demetrius Samawi, pastor of the Dormition of the Virgin Mary Greek Orthodox Church in Mafra, the Transfiguration Brotherhood organized a women's gathering at the church, attended by several fraternities from Irbid, Ajloun, Zarqa, and Al-Husun, in addition to the Transfiguration Brotherhood in Mafraq. After a short prayer, the Dormition Scout raised their flag and played the national anthem, after which everyone proceeded to the church hall. Khuriya Samar welcomed everyone and announced the beginning of the fraternal meeting, followed by Father Demetrius, the parish priest, who welcomed the attending clergy, Archimandrite Athanasius Qaqish, spiritual head of Marfraq, Zarqa, and Majd al-Hamam, Archimandrite Euthemius Fawadle, spiritual head of the north, economist Gregorius Rihani, pastor of Ajloun Church, the economist Dr. Ibrahim Dabbour, pastor of the Preservation of the Lord Church in Sofia, who gave a talk during the gathering on divine providence and God's love for humanity. Father Gregorius also gave a talk about the Feast of Transfiguration, its meaning and its importance, while Dr. Katia Samawi presented on the importance of vitamins, how to deal with them, and the main food that contains them. After Father Ibrahim Dabbour answered the participants' questions, icons and souvenirs were distributed to all attendees. The Spiritual Formation Center, affiliated with the Latin Patriarchate, celebrated the graduation of a class of students in Ramallah. The celebration, held at the Holy Family Parish, was sponsored by His Excellency Bishop William Shomali, Patriarchal Vicar for the Latins in Jerusalem, in a distinctive spiritual atmosphere and in the presence of priests, nuns, the graduates, and their families. The event began with a Holy Mass presided over by Bishop Shomali, with the participation of Father Bernard Pogi, Father Jacob Rafidi, parish priest, and a group of faithful. During the ceremony, project coordinator Mrs. Asal Salibi expressed her appreciation for the support of the Latin Patriarchate and the Seminary Institute for the center, praising the prominent role of priests in delivering and supervising the courses. For his part, Bishop William Shomali valued the efforts of the priests and the determination of the students, affirming that the upcoming courses will include more discussions to deepen conscious understanding of faith amid the challenges faced by believers. The event concluded with the distribution of certificates to about 70 male and female graduates after completing 3 spiritual courses. The Franciscan Sisters, Missionaries of Mary in Jordan, with generous support from the Papal Mission of Amman, concluded the first children's camp for Iraqi youth. More than 25 officials from different churches participated. Sister Sana Samawi, representatives of the sisters, said that the goal of the camp, which carried the title A Spiritual Path to an Ecological Conversion, was to strengthen children's love for the environment and their sense of belonging to God's creation, while raising awareness on ways to preserve it from harm and pollution. The Ministry of Environment participated in the campaign by cleaning the area from plastic and waste and presented gifts such as eco-friendly storybooks, garbage bag, and caps for the children, which brought joy to their hearts. Minister of Tourism and Antiquities Dr. Imad Hijazin stressed the need to pay attention to religious tourism and to collect the data on the damages suffered by the tourism sector in the kingdom. This came following a dialogue meeting held in the city of Aqaba that included a number of provincial officials and those interested in tourism affairs to discuss enhancing tourism linkage in the Golden Triangle, Aqaba, Wadi Rum and Petra. Dr. Hijazin affirmed during the meeting, which was attended by Shadi Al-Majali, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners of the Aqaba Special Economic Zone Authority, along with a number of investors and businessmen, the importance of intensifying efforts in the future to highlight the true face of Aqaba as a city that encompasses all tourism components. He pointed out that Aqaba has a narrative that includes Islamic and Christian history, which makes it an attractive destination for religious tourism, noting that Jordan contains about 52 important Islamic religion tourism sites and 90 Christian tourism sites, including 5 Christian pilgrimage sites. In an atmosphere filled with joy, peace, and love, the Good Shepherd Evangelical Lutheran Church, Amman, gathered for the annual family conference in the Dead Sea area. The conference came under the title, The Bible, the Book of Revelation, and the Role of the Arab Church in Rectifying Reality. It included various activities, meetings, and events, as well as valuable lectures delivered by Reverend Ibrahim Nairouz on the theme of the conference. All participants interacted in a spirit of love and brotherhood and expressed gratitude to everyone who contributed to the success of the conference through organization, coordination, music, and hymns. The Patriarchal Administrator for the Archdiocese of Petra, Philadelphia, and Old Jordan, Archimandrite Bulus Nuzha, appointed Father George Sharaiha as pastor of St. Teresa Parish in Zarqa Governorate. The handover ceremony of the Greek Catholic parish in North Zarqa was conducted from Father George Al-Qaid to the care of Father Sharaiha after the blessing of Archimandrite Nuzha, with the handover and reception taking place under the sponsorship of General Vicar Economist Nabil Haddad. And with that, dear viewers, we have reached the end of our broadcast. Before we conclude, here's a reminder of the main highlights. Pope Leon calls for a ceasefire and a resolution to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Jordan announces the reactivation of mandatory national service, preparing youth to serve and defend the homeland. Cardinal Pizzabella presides over the celebration of the Feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Jerusalem. Jordanian Christian tribes rejects Netanyahu's statements that undermines the sovereignty of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. For more information, please visit our website, noursatjo.org. Thank you for watching. Hope you had a pleasant time, and until we meet again.